the audience that Dr. Jyotsna Agrawal is running Vipra on the Premier Institute of Mental Wellness in India, NIMHANS. Vipra is for Vedic psychology discussions. She runs a workshop. Indic Academy was glad to fund one of the workshops, and she is going to conduct many more. And we are very, very glad to have you here, Jyotsna ji. Though this is the last of the presentations of the conference, not at all the least. It is from one of the premier Indian psychology scholars practicing in the best institute of mental wellness in the world, in India. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That's a very humbling introduction, sir. So quickly, I will just start so that everyone is like, wait, doesn't have to wait. So I will just give a little bit of background. I come from an insider perspective on this topic. So I kind of use my subjective experiences in the questions I'm asking and the answers probably I find. Swamini ji sometime back had shared this picture from the Indian Psychology Conferences, and I saw myself also there, like long back, decades back in those conferences. And since then, I have often wondered, because many of these conferences do have a lot of people from the Gyan Marg, and I would wonder, where are the bhaktas? So, like, although I work in the yoga tradition and to understand, to bring, to apply it and all, but at deep down, I'm like, my path probably is from bhakti. And often I've wondered, like, if my relationship with Divine Mother can have that intimacy of, like, the poet Kamalkant Bhattacharya, who wrote this beautiful poem, Is My Mother Really Black? But to me, often Divine Mother seemed too awe-inspiring in her splendor, and probably Krishna seems to be more relatable on a personal level. From this background, I will start this presentation. So if you look into the Hinduism, there are like many gods, so it's not just one, and both personal and impersonal, form and formless. So Sri Aurobindo had spoken about how there's a transcendental aspect which is like outside the cosmos or creation, the cosmic which is everywhere, and immanent which is there within us, as well as with whom we can build a personal relationship. And these are broadly related to the spiritual pathways which one can choose. Different relationships have been discussed, like a friend, lover, child, etc. Especially this text, Narad Bhakti Sutra, and there's a lot of freedom to choose. Not only like family to family, but within the family also, each one might have a different choice about which Ishtadevata, preferred deity or form they choose. And it's all is validated, as Bhagavad Gita says, that whoever comes to me through whatever form, I reach him. So we also might have noticed that there are changing relationships. So people do change from one divine, with whom they build very close intimacy, to at times different, which can be influenced by many factors, including one's life state, psychological needs, aspirations, etc. So there's a very beautiful quote by Sri Aurobindo from Letters on Yoga, Volume 2, actually, that how Krishna is the embodiment of playfulness, although hard to reach, but when Krishna finds kind of fancy to you, he can be very attractive, very charming, and compensate all the suffering. There's another one from the mother of Sri Aurobindo's book again, on Mahakali, that how she's also the mother, because we often see her in her wrathful form, but her love is intense, like her wrath, and she has this deep, passionate kindness, and she can break those obstacles which immobilize the seeker. So many of the different metaphors and imageries have been used for the relationship. For example, often God has been seen as a nurturing mother, and humans can relate with this mother through different kind of relationship. There are metaphors of baby monkey who holds the mother while mother jumps from, the monkey jumps from one tree to another, or the baby kitten who remains quiet, and the cat, the mother cat, picks up and takes her around. or the bhakta as a distracted child who remains in the world, busy with everything, until unless he suddenly remembers the mother and cries, and then only the mother comes, the God comes in the form of the mother in a way. So these are the different metaphors, but we may also notice this relationship doesn't go very smooth all the time. We may have noticed difficulties at different human level. And again, I will take a small quote from Sri Aurobindo, where he says that this love still has this ordinary human element. There is a call for return, and if the return does not seem to come, the love may sink. There is this self-interest, the demand for the divine as a giver of all that the human being wants, and if the demands are not exceeded, there is an abhimana against this, and then against the divine, and there is a loss of faith and loss of fervor. So if you look into this, people can at times treat God as a means to an end, where they are basically looking for something else, and that is called utilitarian perspective on God. So there can be many factors which influence this human element which comes in, which can be related to perception of God. For example, God is loving versus unforgiving, or judging and controlling, how they trust, how the behavior comes, what kind of beliefs are there. There are different theories from the Freud onwards, and I will be picking up one theory, which is attachment theory. This theory, although developed with the studies on relationship between infant and parent, but they also looked at how the early childhood experiences leads to an internal system of emotion, behavior, thoughts, which then gets encoded in the brain in the limbic system and becomes blueprint for lifelong relationship. So for example, when the parent is sensitively, attentive, consistently able to meet the child feels secure, safe, is able to explore the environment, seek comfort from the parent figure when they are threatened. So which is called secure attachment. But the child's needs are not consistently met, it can lead to some bit of insecurity, which is in two different ways, anxious or avoidant, where people can think of parent figure as distant, there's less trust. Sometimes they can be very worried, or they want to shift their attention to something else completely. This theory has been extended further in relationship with God. So God has been conceptualized as spiritual attachment figure, and given that there is no physical proximity, the proximity is sought through Murti, prayer, ritual, icons, objects, etc. We may notice that, especially in the times of distress, people find sense of safety, comfort by invoking the image of God, His presence, prayers, temples, etc. And there are a lot of mental health outcomes associated with this. There is in the entire field is something called correspondence hypothesis, which I just mentioned, that there is a similar relationship style with caregivers and with God. So because there is an internal working model of attachment which is built. And for example, if a person has a secure attachment, they are able to transcend their ego, builds faith, and have a faith even in the benevolent forces like God. Secure attachment with God is associated with better mental health. Like, for example, studies have been done to see that positive self-concept, meaning in life, greater resilience, more positive affect, less psychological distress, sense of belongingness, connectedness, etc. But there can be also troubled relationship with God, where people feel that God doesn't seem to be too close, God is seen as authoritarian, punishing, and which is influenced by this insecure attachment with God, or anxious or avoiding style. And if you, I have kind of looked into this book of poetry by Sri Aurobindo Savitri, where I found multiple conversations which may indicate towards this. For example, the conversation between Narada and Savitri's mother, when they get to know that Savitri's husband will die within a year or something. So if we look into this difficult attachment or difficult relationship with God, it can be influenced by difficult experiences with caregivers, including possible trauma. And it has been found that associated with poor mental health, for example, struggling with sense of abandonment, spiritual disappointment, discontent, low religious engagement, fear about punishment by God, or various psychiatric symptoms, social anxiety, obsession, compulsion, negative emotions, low social trust, low life purpose, increased chance of self-harm, etc. So a question can come, is there no hope? But this brings us to the second hypothesis in the field, which also applies, that some people who had difficult childhood experiences, whose parents were either not present, lacking, they go on to develop positive relationship with God and fill the psychological need or void by developing a secure attachment with God. And that in turn can actually influence real life relationships. If you look into the Bhakti saints in India, when we look closely, many of their childhood was difficult. There were early death of one or both parents, abandonment, adoption, etc. So see, if you look into this, you may notice that most of the famous saints actually in this slide are there. So we might have heard about the parent of Saint Dhyaneshwar, Muktabai, etc. They were four siblings whose parents committed suicide. Tukaram, Sant Narsingh Mehta, or you can say Swami Ramkrishna Paramhans, Ramana Maharshi, Adi Shankaracharya, etc. So either some of them, both parents passed away, or they were not available, or one of the parents passed away quite early in age. And then we know about saints who had found and taken care of by other people because they were abandoned or the parents had left them. So this tells us that yes, it is possible to develop a positive relationship with God also, in spite of difficult childhood experiences, which is the compensatory hypothesis. In fact, later positive supportive relationship in life, and especially romantic partnership, marriages, etc., can also bring a sense of security and change the internal model. And then we may also notice that our perspective toward God also can change over time. Some recent work, therefore, is indicating that there is bidirectional influence on human relationship and God relationship. Sometimes pathology comes in form of spiritual instability or grandiosity or a sense of narcissism. So the field is still developing, but it is very relevant in our context in many different ways. As I mentioned earlier, that we can relate to God in either immanent way or personal way or even cosmic way. So there is another way which I would like to talk about, is about the cosmic form. So Bhagavad Gita chapter 9 to 11 has a great vision of this cosmic God. Also describes this effect on Arjuna when he says that he feels almost awe-inspired, fearful, and in fact, if someone reads that, even the reader can have some bit of that experience. And Sri Aurobindo has written about how that part of Arjuna's saying to this chant to Krishna is actually one of the most beautiful poetries in Sanskrit. Which is generated by a sense of vision like that, is the overwhelming feeling of reverence, admiration, fear, produced by something grand, sublime, extremely powerful. And this reminds me of one of the earlier presentations which had spoken about how this Vismay and Bhaya, those rasas. So awe is a kind of combination of these emotions. It has been linked with multiple psychological benefits, from making one feel more connected to other people in the entire humanity, decreasing materialism, making people more generous, enhancing the sense of time, improving health, mood, sense of satisfaction, and critical thinking ability, along with bringing a sense of humility. I will end with this. Not much work has been done in India in this area. One publication, Chandur and Shriram, had reported how managing difficulty through cultivating anasakti, which is supported by Bhakti in a Madhva community, and how it helped people. Currently, we are also in the process of data collection in this area, and we have I have personally used some component of this in psychotherapy with different patients who are open to this or who are having this kind of struggle. But we need to explore further that whether attachment to God in Indian context is somewhat like attachment to multiple parental figures, like in joint families, where different relationship with different God happens, and all of it kind of builds like a network of support. Further, we also need to understand how the relationship changes with age, with life experiences, why rupture in these relationship happens and exit even where like when a person leaves a particular God, and how we can utilize this for psychological intervention. For example, Ishwar Printahana is actually the surrender to God, but what if like a person is having difficulty in their relationship with God? Thank you.
Namaste, Jyotsna ji. That was really very, very interesting topic. Usually, we don't expect such topics to be taken up. One small correction: it is not Madhava community; it is Madhva. There is no A after DH.
Okay.
Madhvacharya is the founder. So, after
Yes.
the name of Madhva, it is called Madhva tradition. It is also Dvaita Vedanta tradition. And actually, that is a very good choice because that is the tradition which focuses mostly on bhakti, devatas, and these traditions. So, Jyotsna ji was very busy with her university work, institute work, with her students, paper corrections, and all that. I specially invited her so that we don't miss one of our family members in this festival.
Thank you, sir.
On this Shubha Sandarbha. This is a good occasion when we all meet. So thank you very much, Jyotsna ji, for agreeing to our invitation and coming here.